Welcome everybody, it is Unstoppable Stiletsy with yet another Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition casted game. So today we got ourselves a nice 1 versus 1 supremacy. Germany versus Germany. Pretzels versus Bratwurst. Anything you can expect from a German civil war. So before we check this match out, let's look at the map real quick and see what the map has to offer these players. So this is a map I see a lot in ranked games. You got the little pond here in Africa with the trade route that goes around in this sort of like circular fashion. I don't always grab the trading post down here. I think I usually do if I'm like, the Chinese or something and I really need it as part of the build order. But really your big focus should be making sure you control all these ostriches as well as the other nice African savanna animals around here like the giraffes and the gazelles. Also, you get a lot of nice Sudanese natives here as well as Berbers, so if you can grab some of these ones, they can add a lot to your army. So definitely consider getting those. Without further ado, let's get started and see which Germany comes on top. So, Germany. What can we say about Germany? Well, Germany in really any situation can be thought of as two things. Number one, they're great at being aggressive, you know. It's really great when you can basically get free raiding cavalry with each card that you send. Yeah, every card from age 2 onward sends some free Uhlans, which are a very low HP but also a very high attack version of the Hussar pretty much. So they can get a lot of damage out into enemy villagers, but they can also do a lot of damage to, say, crossbowmen, artillery. Yeah, they're really good at raiding in general. So yeah. I see the players are conversing there a little bit, getting ready for the match at hand, so yeah, I'm sure they're preparing for a lot here. Yeah, one thing you always notice with the Germany builds is they always love to get early markets. You know why they like to get early markets? It's because, you see these settler wagons here? There were 2 population villagers, so they're pretty pricey, as you can see here, 100 food as well as 100 wood. Also 2 population spaces instead of 1, but they gather as good as just about 2 villagers in 1. So think of a technology like you see here with I saw them queuing up hunting dogs earlier, and I think they did research when I was looking at the other player. Basically, hunting dogs has really double effect on the settler wagons compared to the ordinary settlers, so at the start of the game, when you get about 3 of them to work with right away, getting that hunting dogs early can really help you get up well with your age up time, as well as get those early units out that you need. Yeah, so what I'm really going to be curious about here is what are the different deck philosophies we're going to see today, because clearly it's the same Civ, but there's obviously many, many different ways to play the Civ, right? This is an AoE 2, this is an AoE 1, you know? There are just so many cards and politicians to age up with and stuff for each Civ that there's probably 20 billion ways to play every Civ. So for this Civ, or at least this player here, we see more of a, it's kind of a balanced deck, but it's certainly focused a lot on fighting, I can see. It's a lot of aggression in general, you know. We get the early crossbowmen and Doppelsoldner. You do get Palatine settlements, which basically makes your houses a lot more effective. This made a big difference in the Bohemia game for Tushki when, you know, he needed a lot more pop in those houses as they were getting burned down. Yeah. You also see some mercenary shipments here in the form of the Black Rider and the Jaeger. These are must-haves in really any sort of like 1v1 Germany deck, I would say, because, hey, you're going to find times when you can get down placer mines and really get down on that coin gathering. What a more perfect way to spend that coin to get a bunch of Imperial Age level skirmishers or dragoons to start fighting your enemy with. You also see the war wagons, the skirms, the Uhlans. You probably want to have at least 1 of each of these things in Age 3 as Germany. And then in Age 4, things pick up a little bit. You get the winged hussars, you get the Le Panzer cavalry, which really helps the Ulan stats a lot. And you also, wedding allies, so you get the Saxon Cuirassiers too. That's a splash cavalry native. Also the 6 settler wagons. what I find interesting is I don't see the Germantown farmers here, which we see a lot from this player. You know, he likes to have it, so basically he can really run up his economy really well. And in relation to that, since he doesn't have Germantown farmers, he didn't have a need for guild artisans either, obviously. So what is he aging up with exactly? He's going up with the core master, about a 400 wood politician. How about the opposing player? Opposing player is also doing quartermaster. It's really a good default politician for any civ that gets it, because 400 wood is something you can really use for anything. Barracks, stable, houses, technologies, archaic units like the pike and the crossbow. There's really a lot of uses for 400 wood. And in terms of their deck, yeah, I mean, there's clearly a lot of combat focus here as well, but I think there's a little bit more emphasis on, I would say, special units. Yeah, you get the same old Jaeger and Blackfriar you do with the opponent, but we get this really spicy card, the Circle Army. This is like an infinite shipment, but each time you send it, it sends a different unit, and then once you go through the cycle of 3, then it resets and the thing is sent that time. It kind of cycles between the Saxon Corsairs, mounted infantry, as well as the Black Brunswickers. So, really, you get a large smorgasbord of different things if you keep sending it constantly, which can lead to a pretty wide army overall. I like sending it. I used it a bit, I think, in that Germany FFA on Honshu before. It really helps you diversify your military quite a bit. I also notice here we see Silversmith and the Irish Brigadiers, so that should definitely change things up a bit as well. One thing I see with both players here is a start of Sutler Wagons as their second shipment. Well, at least I saw the blue player go with it. I wasn't looking at the red player. What's the red player again? Well, the red player's gonna have to watch out for this mess. Yep, intercepted just in time. You know, one more slash of that saber and, well, they could still go down. They could still sneak their way in, but, looks like, that settler got away safely. Yeah. See, this is the threat you always face against Germany, is those free Uhlans coming up behind your base and snagging away free settlers from you. You especially don't want to lose a settler wagon, you know. But sure, the good news about the settler wagon is, since it's like 2 settlers in one, they have a lot more HP and they can deal with a lot more abuse. But unfortunately, they don't get that hand armor though that the settler does. So they're better if you're like shooting at them with the gun or firing arrows at them. But when it comes to slashing and dicing and dashing, they're not armored against that at all. Yeah, definitely not at all. Yep. So it's definitely confirmed that the Red Germany also got the 3 settler wagons too. Yeah, it's a pretty greedy, boomy option instead of 700 wood, but if you know you can get up to that fast fortress pretty easily, why not go for 3 settler wagons instead of wood? Because the settler wagons, you know, you can use them for just about anything. Coin, food, wood, really anything, you know? And the great thing about them too is, as you get more technologies from the market, they're going to become more effective. Like, we see placer mines coming right now for the Red Germany. This is really going to help these settler wagons do a lot of good work. And by the time you get to age 3, more often than not, you can afford those Blackfriars or Jaegers right away, you know. Jaegers would be perfect against these Doppels. You know, these Doppels, they're really an anti-cavalry unit, but they have a splash attack to them, so they're really dangerous, you know. If you, for some reason, idled your Uhlans in front of them, well, they'd be gone in pretty much a blast, you know. They wouldn't last very long. Frankly, no hand cavalry would last very long against a Doppelsoldater, but especially these Uhlans because of their low HP. So it looks like indeed this Red Germany has again Palatine settlements. Yeah, that's mostly a defensive move actually, because they don't know exactly if this Blue Germany is going to try to burn down their houses like the Ethiopia did in the Bohemia game. If they start burning down houses, you're definitely not getting any shipments in, you know. This deck is very shipment friendly, whether it's the mercenary options or the standard unit options. You really need to have that pop space available for that. And what do we see right now? We see the Ulan Sword guarding this train post, but what can they do exactly about it? Right? Well, we do see the Blue Germany also going up to age 3 with a bit of a semi-FF via the Exiled Prince. Exiled Prince basically just means your age up is going to be quicker. Doesn't give you anything like resources and units, unfortunately. The real strength of Exiled Prince is basically ensuring you can get those age 3 shipments quicker once you get to age 3. And they'll already have a shipment available, it looks like, ready for them. So what's their strategy going to be? I see from a training standpoint they're going with purely Doppels, it looks like, as well as adding in the free Ulans. So it's really anyone's game to say what they're going to use to assault their opponent here. Are they going to ship in skirmishers, perhaps? Because they have a lot more age 3 cards at their disposal than their opponent does. Or are they even going to go for a circle army? They can afford it. Well, they were able to afford it until they decided to get veteran Doppels. Yeah, these veteran Doppels are going to be an interesting sight to see how effective they are exactly. Yeah. One thing I also find interesting is more of an emphasis on generic cavalry combat cards, right? We got cavalry combat here, we get cavalry hit points in age 2. These are not just going to affect the Ulan stats, but these are going to really affect all the cavalry unit stats, right? The War Wagon, the Chevalagers, should you decide to swap them out with the War Wagons, you know. They really help all the cavalry units in the German roster. Ah, so we got Black Riders. So these Black Riders, these are great kiting tools, you know. As soon as these even these Doppels, you know, these Doppels are not the fastest units carrying all that armor on their backs. All it takes is for these Black Riders to get up and close, yep, do that, blast their little pistols, and they can kite them quite easily. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see right now. I also like the usage of Berber natives here, these Berber nomads. These are a nice additional villager you can add to your economic group, I would say, because they're really good at gathering from natural resources like hunting, mining, wood chopping. They're really good with like natural resource tasks. And if you can get them alongside your regular villager queue, that's a pretty good way to boom up on any map where the Berbers show up on. Yeah. So definitely consider getting some Berber nomads if you can get it on the side. Now, I don't know what Red Germany is going to do exactly here next. Right now, they got some Black Riders on the field, but I don't know what step 2 is going to be. My guess would probably be get another house up, get some Jaegers. Continue to queue settlers if you possibly can, which they are doing, luckily, you know. Always try to queue villagers, folks, even if it doesn't make any sense sometimes, you know. Because those villagers and the work they do on the map is really going to pay off in the long run. There's going to be that time when you're out of wood or coin or food and you wish that you had those extra villagers keeping that income up. Yep. So, what are these new ones going to do? Are they going to... Yep, they're going to sort of be like a meat shield, I think, and distract the Doppels a bit. So, yep. Kite them. These Black Riders in particular are really good at kiting away Doppels because they actually have 40% hack armor, which means they're actually pretty impervious to the sword slashes of these Doppels. And their biggest threat is honestly these skirmishers that are focusing them down right now. So they have to keep dipping in and out and making sure when one loses a bit of HP, get out of there. Replace the front liners with the ones that have full HP. Or just try to avoid the engagement if you can. Because see, now that the Doppels are dead, skirmishers alone are not capable of sieging down a town center, so they have to retreat. And unfortunately, in that retreat, they're met by some Ulans ready for them. Were these Ulans from the home city? Well, were they their own card? We'll have to see. But now we see the Jaegers coming out. Okay, you might not want to be doing this right now. No, absolutely not. Do not put light cavalry under an area you got skirms in. That is not good. You definitely don't want to be doing that stuff, you know. That is one way you'd mess up pretty badly. But they learned eventually, but it cost them about two of their units. So next time, be a bit more careful where you land your units on. Yeah, definitely. I like the double town center because that's going to give you a little more defense, and it's also going to ensure you have a secondary settler queue should you want more of them, right? This player didn't go for Germantown farmers, so really majority of their economy is going to be coming from settlers, I would say. Besides, of course, the settler wagon shipments that they send in. Right, they get that spicy 6 settler wagon shipment in age 4, should they make it there, but for right now, most of your economy is going to be through the lesser gathering settlers. So it looks like the Jaegers are going to be grouping up with the Black Riders and the remaining Uhlans to scout out a bit. But what about the other Germany? What's the other Germany? So they're actually training settler wagons, not settler war wagons now. Germany is like the wagon civ, right? They get settler wagons, war wagons, covered wagons. Well, everybody gets covered wagons. They're all about wagons. So basically combining war wagons with skirms means you can probably do better against more of the cavalry units. You know, the skirms can focus down the war wagons. The war wagons can target down the Uhlans, but the big trump card is probably what do you do with the Jaegers, because basically the Jaegers counters all of that. You know, the Jaegers absolutely demolishes war wagons because they lack pierce armor. You know, and then when it comes to the skirmishers, the Jaegers just have more stats than the skirmisher unit does at this stage. In addition to having 10% additional pierce armor, so they're naturally going to be impervious against weaker skirmisher units. They're going to counter them quite well. As long as they're microing properly, right? Like they're focusing them down, they can get them to do pretty good versus them. So what is this blue Germany going to do? So it looks like, is this 1K coin? Yes, it's 1K. So they're going to Industrial Age now. I don't know what they're going to pick up in Industrial Age, but it should probably be pretty good. You know, maybe some heavy cannon, maybe some winged hussars, who knows. And what about the Red Germany? So the Red Germany right now is focused on unit training now. So they are probably not going to go to Industrial Age just yet. These massing up these war wagons should make them pretty immune to cavalry raids. These war wagons should ensure that they have a way of combating enemy infantry, right, that isn't skirmishers. Because for what it's worth, these war wagons being a 3-pop cavalry unit do a lot of damage, you know. I mean, you can just look at the stats right now on one of these war wagons. It's like 42 range attack already in age 3. Not even counting the cavalry combat, which is going to be coming in. Yeah, definitely. Like, look at what this cavalry combat does to these units here. Yeah. Here it comes. 48 damage. That's serious. You know, that's like an Imperial Musketeer. That's a lot of damage you're inflicting per shot out of those little cannons that come out of the wagon. Right? You see log flume coming now for this Germany, so definitely going to be able to afford more buildings, more houses. Well, they don't need much more houses. Because they have Palatine settlements, they only need actually one more house, and then they're 200 pop. They're maxed out at that point. So not a lot of work there. But you can get another town center, you can get towers, you can get more barracks and stables, you can get late game agriculture buildings as needed. So it's going to set you up really nice to have all that additional wood from the chopping that you're going to be doing better now with log flume. So now we see a bit of engagement here between... Oh, wow! Look at those Uhlans falling right into the trap. Right into the trap. Oh, jeez. That's not good. Yeah. But now, unfortunately, I feel like the blue Germany has the advantage because they just have a larger stack of skirmishers to work with now. That it doesn't matter that you got the Jaegers. Because if you can focus fire down those Jaegers with your weaker skirmishers, you can probably get a pretty good gain there. Just saying. Just saying. But unfortunately, though, now with the combination of Minutemen and additional skirmisher reinforcements. Now the Red Germany was able to fight off that large skirmisher match. Yeah, and now these blue skirmishers once again have to retreat and deal with Ulan slicing them right down the back. But now this blue Germany has some falconets as a surprise. Will this surprise prove useful? Oh, I don't think it is, because now we have a large contingent of Ulans coming from the home city, it looks like, about 9 of them. And these cannons are totally unprotected right now. Oh no. Yeah, War Wagon's perfectly capable of sniping them on their own. Yeah, I think this is the end, folks. Like, what is this blue Germany gonna do? Like, yeah, they don't have any coin right now. Like, what's their idea? Berber Camel Riders? Well, I mean, these are probably a good unit to use here because they're great against the Ulans, but surprisingly, they're going to do pretty bad against the War Wagons because, remember, they have hand armor, so they're going to be more impervious to melee assaults by Berber Camel Riders. If it was like a regular Dragoon, yeah, conceivably the Berber Camel Riders could, you know... Well, actually, what multipliers do they get, actually? What tag? So it's all cavalry. Okay, so yeah, they would actually do multipliers against like dragoons. So yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. And now we see the War Wagon's gonna have to retreat now. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like you're getting overwhelmed now. Let's see if these factories can make up for it, though, because, yeah, this blue Germany did make it to industrial age, and now these factories can be applied to their resource stockpile. But it really doesn't matter a whole lot if you can't mount a defense, usually, right? Sometimes you get overconfident and, oh, I got a superb economy, I'm all set to go, and then... Before you know it, you have a 200 population army in your base, ripping apart houses, ripping apart production buildings, ripping apart everything, and you just don't know how to solve that, right? You need to have a standing army, too, to support that economy, because if you don't, this happens, right? You got Jaegers messing with you, you got War Wagons, you got Skirms, you got Falconets of theirs. Yeah, this wagon's not even going to get to... Oh, yeah, look at that. Wagon didn't even finish. Got completely blasted down. Totally horrible casualty, right? You do not want to see your factory wagon getting burned down. It's a one-time unit that you don't get again, right? You get 2 factories, if one of them burns, you don't get another one. So, you gotta protect them. Yeah, GG. Like, to me, when you see, like, a factory wagon getting killed in plain sight like that, that's a sign that you need to leave at that point, that match. Like, you're done. You're absolutely done when your factory wagon goes down. So, yeah. Good game, though. You know, this was a strong back and forth here between red and blue Germany, using a lot of war wagons, a lot of skirmishers. And, yep, and then the famous petards coming in, too. Signature move of this Germany. Let's look at the post-game and see what the stats were like. So, yeah, red Germany had just a little bit more resources in the stockpile. In terms of military performance, very superb too. You know, a lot of work. A lot of work went into that. The blue Germany without those Jaegers did not do a lot of damage, I feel like. So definitely when you're able to get mercenaries early on and preserve them, that's really good. Alright, we're going to be doing some more later, so see you in the next one. Sign off now.